What if I told you that the United States government might soon be forced to hand back tens of billions of dollars collected under President Donald Trump's boldest tariffs, creating one of the largest refund efforts in American history? And yet, the ordinary American shopper who's been paying higher prices all along would get absolutely nothing. This is not speculation. It's the very real possibility now hanging over Washington, the courts, and the business world. Imagine a courtroom in New York City earlier this year. Trade lawyers stood before federal judges, arguing that the president had overstepped his powers when he used the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, known as IEEPA, to impose sweeping tariffs on imports from almost every country in the world. One lawyer rose and said firmly, "Your Honors, Congress never authorized this. These tariffs are an abuse of executive authority. They are unlawful." On the other side, government attorneys defended the move, insisting that massive trade deficits amounted to a national emergency and that the president had the right to act without waiting for Congress. But the trade court didn't buy it. In May, they ruled the president had gone too far, and just last week, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit upheld most of that decision. Suddenly, Trump's most aggressive tariffs he has bragged about as bringing trillions of dollars into the Treasury, are hanging by a thread. If the Supreme Court now strikes them down, the result could be a legal and financial earthquake. Picture U.S. Customs and Border Protection's massive databases filled with records of every shipment, every payment, every importer who has handed over money under these tariffs. As trade lawyer Louis Arandia explains, we're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars potentially in refunds, affecting thousands and thousands of importers. Unwinding all that will be the largest administrative effort in U.S. government history. Now think about what that actually means. Let's say a U.S. furniture company imported thousands of wooden tables from Vietnam. They paid millions of dollars in tariffs at the border. If the High Court rules against Trump, that company could march back to the government and demand its money back. Multiply that by tens of thousands of companies: steel importers, auto parts suppliers, clothing retailers, electronics wholesalers, and you begin to see the sheer scale of the potential refunds. And yet, while businesses stand to gain, the American consumer does not. A family in Ohio that paid an extra $100 for a washing machine because of tariffs won't see that money returned. A restaurant in Texas that paid more for imported cooking equipment won't get a check. As Arandia bluntly puts it, it's the importer of record that is legally liable for paying tariffs and duties. They would be the only one to have standing to even get that money back. The mechanics of any refund process remain murky. Trade lawyer Ted Murphy describes three possibilities. He says, there could be nothing. The government may just automatically refund it. I don't think this is likely, but it's an option. There could be an administrative process where companies must apply to customs for refunds, or importers could be forced to file their own lawsuits. There is precedent. In the 1990s, the courts struck down a harbor maintenance fee on exports. A system was created to allow exporters to file claims and receive refunds. But there was a catch. The government didn't have to pay interest. Would the same rule apply now? Nobody knows. The stakes are enormous. As of late August, Customs reported it had collected more than $72 billion in these IEEPA tariffs alone. That number could balloon much higher depending on how far courts go in striking down Trump's actions. For Trump himself, the issue is not just legal, it's deeply political. He has celebrated the tariffs as proof that he is making America rich again. If we didn't have tariffs, he declared, we would be a very poor nation, and we would be taken advantage of by every other nation in the world. But if refunds are ordered, it could rip a hole in the Treasury's books and unravel one of Trump's proudest talking points. He's already posted warnings on social media, claiming that paying the money back would be 1929 all over again, a Great Depression. Legal experts expect the administration, even if it loses, to resist. Brent Skorup from the Libertarian Cato Institute predicts, "I would anticipate that if the administration did lose, they would turn around and start arguing why it would be impossible to give refunds to everybody. I think there will be a lot of litigation about the nature of refunds and who's entitled one." Nothing. In the meantime, importers are being told to get their paperwork in order. Barnes & Thornburg partner Clinton Yu advises, importers really need to have their records in order. Every invoice, every tariff payment, every bill of lading could become the key to recovering millions. Behind all this lies the chaotic way Trump rolled out his tariffs, announcing, delaying, sometimes replacing them. In some cases, importers paid one tariff only to be excused from another. That confusion may make refund claims even more complex. And so, the United States now faces a remarkable crossroads. If the Supreme Court upholds Trump's tariffs, his bold use of emergency powers will stand as precedent, giving future presidents vast authority to shape trade by fiat. But if the court strikes them down, thousands of companies may line up for refunds, creating one of the largest financial reversals in American history. Either way, consumers, the people who have been paying higher prices in stores for years, will remain on the sidelines, watching as billions flow not into their pockets, but back into the coffers of importers who had the resources to fight. The story is far from over. Solicitor General D. John Sauer has already asked the justices to hear arguments in November. When the Supreme Court steps into this fight, it won't just be deciding a legal technicality. It will be weighing the balance of power between Congress and the president, the reach of emergency law, and the fate of billions of dollars. And as the nation waits, one thing is clear: whether Trump's tariffs stand or fall, the financial aftershocks will be felt for years to come. As America waits for the Supreme Court's decision, the uncertainty is almost unbearable for businesses and policymakers alike. In corporate boardrooms, importers are calculating potential refunds that could reshape their financial futures. In Washington, officials are quietly worrying about the massive hole such repayments could blow into the federal budget. And in homes across the country, ordinary Americans who felt the sting of higher prices without any promise of relief are left wondering if justice is truly being served. Will this become the largest refund effort in U.S. history? Or will the administration find a way to shield itself from responsibility? Every gavel strike in the nation's highest court will echo far beyond the marble walls, shaping not just trade law, but the very question of who pays the price when politics and economics collide. The answer, once delivered, may change America's course for decades to come.